In our new book, Transcend, 9 Steps to Living Well Forever, Dr. Grossman and I talk about 3 bridges to radical life extension. And Bridge 1, which is the bulk of the book, is a practical and personalized program of what you can do right now using today's moving frontier of knowledge to stay healthy, until we get dramatic new technologies, which are not far off, that will make it a lot easier to stay young. And there's a lot more that you can do than people realize to forestall aging and disease processes. Now, aging is not one thing. Aging is actually a dozen different processes, and you can actually slow down each of these processes, and in some cases, actually stop or reverse them.
In our new book, Transcend, 9 Steps to Living Well Forever, we describe this process of living long enough and staying in good health long enough to take full advantage of the oncoming breakthroughs in technology as passing over 3 bridges. Bridge 1 consists of the medicine we have today, while Bridge 2 is biotechnology, and Bridge 3 is nanotechnology and artificial intelligence. The 2 main pillars of Bridge 1 therapies are prevention and early detection of disease.
Our program is not one size fits all. Everybody has different issues, so an important part of our program is to really find out about yourself through testing and self-assessment and working with your physician, and then we give you guidelines on how to optimize your program for your own specific health needs.
The conventional wisdom is that 80% of the aging process is due to our genes and 20% is due to our lifestyle choices. But it turns out that exactly the opposite is true. The lifestyle choices we make are actually responsible for 80% of the aging process, and our genes only 20%. People have much greater control over their health than they think, and there's a lot more they can do to slow down, stop, and reverse the aging process. Virtually every disease is discoverable and preventable with techniques available today. The problem is these tools simply aren't being utilized by the majority of practicing physicians. The 2 leading causes of death today are cardiovascular disease and cancer. We have the ability to detect almost every case of heart disease at a very early stage when it is easily treatable and in most cases curable. You can have an ultra-fast CT scan done of your coronary arteries and measure your coronary artery calcium score to determine if you have any level of buildup of calcified plaque in your heart arteries. 2 out of 3 individuals that have a heart attack have that without any warning, but by doing these tests, you don't have to be one of them.
Bridge 2 is the biotechnology revolution, and it reflects a grand transformation that health and medicine is now undergoing. Health and medicine is now an information technology. That was not the case just a few years ago. We didn't have the genome, which is basically the software in which our lives are based. We didn't have means of changing genes. All of that has changed. We collected the genome in 2003, and the genome basically is outdated software that runs in our bodies. It evolved thousands of years ago when conditions are very different. How long do you go without updating the software on your cell phone? It updates itself every few days. Yet we have software, our genes, that run in our bodies that evolved thousands of years ago. We'd like to change those today to reflect today's circumstances. And we now have actually means of changing our genes. RNA interference can turn genes off. New forms of gene therapy can add new genes. We can design interventions on computers. We can test them out on biological simulators. Health and medicine used to be hit or miss. Now we can actually design these interventions on computers. And now that health and medicine is an information technology, it's subject to what I call the law of accelerating returns, which basically states that information technology in every field, including now health, doubles in power every year. And doubling in power every year means multiplying by 1,000 in 10 years. So these technologies, even though they're in an early stage today, will be 1,000 times more powerful in 10 years, 1,000,000 times more powerful in 20 years, and it will be a very different era. The third bridge, which is 20 to 25 years away, is nanotechnology. And the quintessential application of nanotechnology are nanobots, blood cell-sized devices that will go inside our body and keep us healthy from inside. Now, if I were to say that someday you will have millions and ultimately billions of nanobots in your body keeping you healthy from inside, you'd think, that sounds awfully futuristic. But I'd point out there's already a few dozen experiments in animals of doing exactly that with the first generation of devices. One scientist actually cured type 1 diabetes in rats with a blood cell-sized device, has 7 nanometer pores, lets insulin out in a controlled fashion. At MIT, they have a blood cell-sized device that can detect cancer cells in the bloodstream and destroy them. These are early experiments, but keep in mind that these technologies will literally be 1 billion times more capable for the same cost in 25 years, 100,000 times smaller in feature size, and it will be a very different era. These devices will ultimately be very inexpensive and very capable, and they'll destroy disease at the level of one cell before it gets to the level of a whole organ and is threatening your life.
We stand on the threshold of truly radical breakthroughs in medical science and technology. Using the best of Bridge 1 strategies for prevention and early detection of disease will enable us to live long enough and remain in optimal health long enough to take full advantage of Bridges 2 and 3 so that we'll truly be able to overcome, to transcend our outdated genetic code. We invite you to join us on this exciting journey.